Hey, everybody. So we're on number 31, the muscular system for the Auric program. And the muscular system obviously is the skeletal muscles, but also what falls in that is the muscle of the gut, the digestive tract, the muscles of the respiratory system, anything smooth muscle, so urinary tract or urinary system, and then also your cardiac muscle. And the other thing that I would say about this, it's pretty straightforward, like aches and pains and arthritis. And, you could even throw this in the mix of digestive issues or cardiovascular issues. It would have an impact on lymphatic function. It would have an impact on circulation. But when we sleep, part of what happens is we hit the anabolic state, which is a state that we reach while we're sleeping, where our body reboots or resets the nervous system, the immune system, the endocrine system, but also the muscular system. And, you know, we think of the muscles of just as like, moving the body and maybe we think about it just when we have an ache or pain or something like that. But there's a lot more to it. And I would say that there's a component of protection or a level of interaction with things in the environment. I would say on an even deeper level, our ability to access greater levels of the astral realm or the astral body, which is, higher forms of your emotions and your emotional body are tied to the muscular system. Like if you look at somebody and you measure their heart, and then you do like soft tissue work, like on the shoulders and the chest and maybe the back a little bit, and then you go back and look at the heart got bigger, right? So a lot of times when we have issues like with trigger points or muscular or fascial issues, part of it is yes, there's a physical issue, but there's also an astral issue as well. And for us to fall asleep at night, one of the first things that has to happen is our muscles have to be able to let go, right? They have to be able to relax for us to be able to go into a deeper state of relaxation to be able to have a good night's sleep. And again, that also includes the digestive tract and that also includes the respiratory tract. Like if you have tight muscles in the digestive tract, the smooth muscle, most likely you're going to have some form of stress or anxiety, right? Tension in the skeletal muscle reduces our ability to absorb new healthy energy from the environment, from the air, from whatever. And it's also harder for us to release energies. And you could even say, certain kinds of emotional repression is actually more body tension than it is pushing down some emotion, right? So I guess what I'm saying is the muscular system is a bit more complex and nuanced than we really think about or give it credit for, right? So anyway, with that, let's just stop talking about it. Let's jump in and have our experience. So close your eyes for a moment and just reflect. And now let's start inhaling the oil. And the blend is warming muscle tonic, warming muscle support, formerly known as warming muscle tonic. And you're inhaling, and your awareness is on your left side, the whole left side of your body, left side of your face and neck, your left shoulder and ribs, your left hip, down the outer leg to the left outer ankle. Now move your awareness to the front side, the whole front side, your face and throat, your chest, abdomen, front of your pelvis, and down the fronts of your legs to the tops of your feet. The right side of your body, the whole right side. Right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder and ribs, your right hip, down the outer leg to the right outer ankle. Doing your good. You're doing nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on the back side of the body, the whole back side, back of your head and neck, your whole back, your hips, down the backs of your legs to your heels. And just pause and be still. Notice your body, your emotions, and your thoughts. So that's the standard approach. That's something that you can do on a daily basis. That's something that you can integrate with another protocol or a process. And it's something that you can do with what you would call an Auric stack, where you take, 3 or 4 or even up to 5 Auric programs and do them together as a process into itself. Now we're going to jump into the advanced approach. And with the advanced approach, we do this if you're going to do it 1 to 2 times a week. That way, your energy body and your physical body has time to adjust to the process. So, we're going to begin inhaling again. Your awareness is on the whole left side of your body, left side of your face and neck, your left shoulder, your ribs, your hip, down the outer leg to the left outer ankle. Hmm. The back side of your body, the back of your head and neck, your whole back, your hips, down the backs of your legs to your heels. The right side of your body, the whole right side. Right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, right hip, down the outer leg to the right outer ankle. Then the front side of your body, your face and throat, your chest, your abdomen, down the whole front part of your legs to the tops of your feet. And then just pause and be still. Now, we're going to do the knees. So you can do your whole knee, or you can just do the back of your knee. But you're inhaling with your awareness on the knees. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the knees. Move your awareness to the ankles. Your awareness is on the ankles. The soles of your feet. Your awareness is on the soles of your feet. Hmm. Are they really? And just let go. Just let go. Okay, so we're doing the 4 quadrants again. So left side of your body, the whole left side of your face and neck, your left shoulder, your left hip, all the way down the outer leg to the left outer ankle. The front side of your body, your face and throat, your chest, your abdomen, down the fronts of your legs to the tops of your feet. You're on the front side of the body. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Move your awareness to the right side of the body. You're on the right side of your body. You're doing nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then the back side of your body, back of the head and neck, your whole back, your hips, down the backs of your legs to your heels. The whole back side of your body, the back of your head to your heels. And just be still. Just be still. Okay, the last little piece, your awareness is on your brain. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Because I did a bunch of bagels and stuff. Your awareness is on the spine. The brain and spine both at the same time. The brain and soles of your feet. And then as you inhale, you're raising your awareness up above your ankles. You're exhaling down into the earth. And then just pause and be still. Okay. How do you feel? Your body, your emotions, your mind? Nice, deep work programming session. And, again, you don't really think of the muscles as being like something that's going to be like some deep, deep healing but, you know, like I said, the muscle tissue, the fascia has a connection to the astral realm that when you go through and you really start relaxing it, you're able to tap into higher emotions, like emotions that give you a deeper sense of well-being that you couldn't otherwise. There's something to it, you know. So let's go ahead and share your experience or ask a question. We'll do that for a few minutes and then we'll jump into our normal Q&A. But go ahead and share.
Yeah. It feels like I caught up on a couple hours of sleep.
Yeah,
actually.
Good for you.
Yeah. The other thing is too, it just seemed, I don't know if it's about being present here or, but it was much deeper going through the aura
Mhm,
with this one.
mhm.
I mean, it just felt more, it felt more.
You felt it deeper in your body.
Felt it deeper in
Yeah,
the body.
yeah,
Yes, we went through the whole cycle.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, good. And you had some experiences.
I had a lot. I'm happy to share, but I definitely want to give people a chance to share. And I did make it in chat so you guys can type in, um, so it's easy. But go ahead. I'm gonna have Barbara go ahead first.
Hey.
Hey there. I was surprised at how cleansing that felt to the aura.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
was wonderful. And my solar plexus got pretty warm. I don't know if that was maybe my digestive system cleaning something up or it wasn't uncomfortable. It was just this nice warm.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, part of what happens, like I'm using different terms, like when I was saying it, but like if you flip it more to a little bit of an energetic component, is that like when the muscle tissue is like, I don't want to say like in its proper place, but when it's behaving itself, you know what I mean? Whatever that means. Like when it's doing what it does to like a higher level, part of what happens is expansion. Like if you think about like how the body is strong and the tissue is like vibrant and you have good circulation in the body. If you look at it from an energetic point of view, that's like red energy, red prana, right? And red prana is part of how the body can actually have an expansion. Like if you look at divine energy comes in, it's like an electric color, and then it turns to gold. And it becomes more physicalized, and then eventually that gold turns to red, and then that is tied to the expansive quality of the aura. And then if you look at it from the flip side, certain health issues, like say, what's a good one? Like just say anything autoimmune, right? Part of the issue sometimes is that there's an excessive amount of red prana. And again, we're just looking at it from the energetic point of view. There's an excessive amount of red prana and like too much expansion without kind of going back and forth with expansion and coming back into the form, like how we do in meditation. The body expands too much and then the body becomes depleted, because it's
Mhm.
just expanding and it's not then condensing, it's not following the next step. And so a lot of times when you have expansion, um, there is releases in areas. Solar plexus is a good spot. Spine is a good spot that probably happens. Areas that might be congested because of injury, like arthritis or like a bad shoulder, a bad hip. Like Samantha was saying, like her jaws felt better, her back and hip. I don't know that they were hurting, but they were getting tight. She had had a busy day today And it's still tied to that expansion. Yes, it's circulation. Yes, the body's getting stronger, but more light is penetrating uh, the body, the soft tissue.
There's this like warm vibrancy, and I think I
Mhm.
saw vital life force on the list somewhere, and
Yeah.
that's what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank-
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Good.
Thanks.
Samantha kept going, this feels so good. This feels so good. Like she said it so many times. And, this is one of those ones that really, like, if you're looking at the list and you go, like, do I have a muscle reason why to use this or whatever? Like, this is one that probably would fly under the radar. You don't really think of it as being such a thing, but it packs a wallop, it's very quietly kind of awesome or nice,
Another sleeper.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'll share, and we do have a chat as well, but it looks like if you want, you can raise your hand in the raise your hand right now for the regular Q&A to get yourself queued up as well. So my share is just right at the get-go, like left side, I got goosebumps like all over. It was like something just woke up and it was like, and there were just certain moments, like you've shared some of the things that were happening that were fantastic. But it was just interesting that when we went to the soles of the feet, that when we were doing the knees, ankle soles, that's when the jaws just like
They really-
melted. It was just like I could feel throughout the process my actual like muscular system felt like it kept relaxing, but the jaws just even now I'm like, oh, so nice. And then the other funny thing was when you had us let go at the very end, I just like started to smile and like I'm relaxed, but I have a great big smile. It was just like
Yeah, you've been grinning for a while.
it's been, yeah, that was yum. I love the smell too, so
Yeah.
that might help, but I think the actual oil was pretty good for me. And then somebody shared that warm and relaxing.
Good.
All right, and that will complete the ARC programming for today. So next week, what we're going to do is going to be the nervous system. So your oil is going to be nerve help. So if you already have your ARC program, it's nerve help. It's number 32 if you are buying them as we go as well. And it should be pretty great.
Okay, you guys. So I'm glad you guys had good experiences, but let's go ahead and open it up to regular Q&A. And so unmute yourself, type in, and just fire away with the normal questions.
And go ahead, Lolly, start us out.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, that was lovely. I really feel like I just woke up, so thank you. Again, each week I'm like so amazed how deep this thing goes. And I mean, I do have muscle things, but yeah, so thank you. So I had a couple of questions, but I might wait with those. So what I texted you earlier. So my dad had a motorcycle accident earlier.
Right.
So I could, yeah, so here's the situation. So he's 79, was on a motorcycle and he was stopping and somebody just hit him. So basically right now the situation is that he has like maybe 4 different fractured on his ribs. There's some air in his lungs, which is the main thing that they're concerned about. So they're keeping him for a few days. He has hard time breathing. He has pain in his chest. Right hand, bruising on the elbow, and I guess the skin was really like being scraped off in a way. Lower back pain, and I guess lots of bruising, and also the right hip. And then he's on blood thinners, so every bruise, I didn't see pictures, but every bruise looks like oh God, what just happened? So the only thing I was able to tell him to do, the girlfriend had some Tarragon, so I was like, okay, you need to use that. So he took a couple of drops, took a few inhalations. I don't know. So what, and I mean, there's a bunch of different things he could do, but I could use some help with like, what do you see that I'm not seeing or that they don't tell him? And also best way, I mean, I'm traveling in, a couple of weeks, so if I need to bring him something,
Okay.
um, yeah, so in a way it's like, and also there's a difference between the ideal way of treating something and between treating something in a way that, he would actually do things. So maybe
Right.
simplify that for him. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, he got pretty beat up there, and there's levels or degrees of how you treat something like that. There's the emergencies of like the lungs and the broken ribs and things like that. And we could give a big list of different things he could do, but like you said, keeping it simple and things that he can do and things that will produce a result so he's motivated to keep doing them. I like
Yes.
the idea of the tarragon for multiple reasons. I mean, we talk about it all the time. So, I mean, that was good instincts on your part. So, for one, it's going to take him out of the shock. It's going to calm the emotions from the situation. It will help to balance out the chaotic nature of the nervous system from being in the accident. Like when you get in the accident, your nervous system just, it goes into an imbalance kind of quickly. And, it's everybody, we all get it. And so I like it for that. The other thing with the tarragon, it's also antispasmodic. So the things in his body that, it's like a strain or a sprain, but like on steroids. You know what I mean? It's pretty significant, and in a week he's going to hurt a lot more than he does right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so keeping that down. And then the other thing about tarragon is it's also anti-inflammatory. And so you're kind of hitting a lot of things at once with that, which I
And when
think
you're
is
using, sorry, and when you're using it, like what would you do? Like so internally every few
uh,
hours? Or
I would have him probably take it 3 or 4 times a day, but would he inhale it?
I did a little bit, but I don't know, especially because he has a hard time breathing. So I don't know
Okay.
how open,
How
and I
open?
told her to put it on the wrist as well, but I don't
Yeah.
know if,
Yeah.
I mean,
Probably like the wrist, it might be a little irritating to his skin. You might want to say put it on the feet or like on the, like on the heel or the bottom of the foot.
okay,
But really, if he just takes it 3 or 4 times a day, I would say keep it simple and let it just be that.
okay. And I'll
Um,
try and get him to do inhalation if possible, but yeah, okay,
yeah, like
okay.
that's the thing with tarragon. It's like a kind of like rescue remedy of sorts,
Mm-hmm.
like the old Bach flower.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know, much more substantial than the Bach flower thing, much more. And so it will probably help him sleep a little bit. You know, I mean, we want to keep it simple and effective. You know what I mean? Like we want to try, like tarragon is a good choice because it does a lot
Mm-hmm.
with all these kinds of injuries. I mean, given the blood thinners and everything, Yarrow is always a good choice. Anti-inflammatory, still pain relieving, still antispasmodic. And if there's still any sort of bleeding anywhere, it would help calm that down. That would probably be, I mean, you could still take it internally, but it would probably be more topically. But if he doesn't have any, then let's not even
No.
bother going down that road.
Helichrysum, ointment.
Helichrysum would be okay. Like just because of the blood thinners, I'd probably lean a little bit more to Yarrow. But helichrysum could be okay. Um, the thing with the helichrysum is it's very slight, but it does have a thinning effect on the blood. And so I would almost hesitate a little bit just for the sake of letting his body like stabilize. I mean, for 90% of the population, helichrysum is like kind of the go-to thing. But if it was a minor accident, I'd say it's probably okay.
I didn't even
But
think about that.
you don't know the level or degree that there's internal things going on there. And so I would say keep it really simple. He's getting medical attention, so you want to keep him comfortable, but we don't want to cause more chaos or throw the body out of whack too
Yeah,
much.
I didn't even think about that
Yeah.
aspect of
Yeah.
helichrysum. Yeah,
I mean, it's still okay, but like with the blood thinners, like they get a cut or something, and it's going
yeah,
to keep bleeding, and for us, like if we get a cut and we put helichrysum on it, it's still going to stop bleeding, but for somebody like that, they're going to keep bleeding, and the helichrysum isn't really going to address the bleeding. It's going to address more of like the bruising and
yeah,
things like that. So usually with people who are on substantial blood thinners and things is I usually have them carry around Yarrow in case
yeah.
something happens, because even with blood thinners, I mean, most times if you put it on, unless the wound is just too great, it will usually cause the clotting to happen so that the bleeding will stop.
And if
I
I'm
mean, I've
doing
had a few
Yarrow,
times where it's not worked, but it was usually like um a very deep wound, or they were on such high levels of blood thinners, or like there was like I used to use it even on the ranch, like when the animals would be giving birth, and if there was excessive bleeding, we'd just put a bunch of yarrow on it. And most times it would work, but a couple of times, it didn't. And,
and Yarrow, I mean, he doesn't have it, so it means he's going to be able to use it maybe in a couple of weeks. Would that still be relevant? Not
yeah,
so.
I would say it's still anti-inflammatory, still pain relieving, still antispasmodic, and but if he doesn't have it, that's why I was like,
No.
it's not even gonna.
And then it does have marjoram body tonic.
How many open wounds does he have?
I think the only one that was a little bit open and has bandage is the one on the right elbow. The rest of it is a lot of
I would
bruising.
just stick with the Tarragon. What else does he have?
So mainly it's the chest pains, hard to breathe.
No, like what oils or things
Oh,
does?
what else? Sorry. It has pain soothe ointment. Um, more, and then he has also vagal tone body tonic. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. And
Do
then you know what? Actually, I have the kids one that you can take. So I have lavender. What else? Roman chamomile. What else in the myrtle? Right? What the
have
kids?
him use Roman chamomile on some of the spots that are achy rather than the marjoram. I like that a little bit
Okay.
more. The Roman chamomile, a bit more of an anti-inflammatory, and still an incredibly good antispasmodic. And it's pain relieving, but like I would say Roman chamomile would rival the antispasmodic properties of marjoram. I don't talk about it like that too much, just because there's a big cost difference. Marjoram's so much easier and cheaper to use.
Yeah.
But in a case like this, I'd probably go through that Roman chamomile, like, and just
And
hit some topical spots that,
So
And then you could
actually,
use the pain soothe ointment on some of the
yeah,
areas. Just I probably wouldn't put it on broken skin just because of
no,
everything he's got going on. But
but on
you
bruising.
yeah, I would probably limit it to just those things for a bit.
And then for the Roman chamomile, I actually have the kids body tonic. Would that work? So it's like the body tonic, just a little bit more mild. Would that work?
The kids,
So the body
Made a
tonic you
special
made.
body tonic for child, like, but it's still a body tonic.
it was Roman chamomile. Oh,
Yeah, you did one
um,
especially, yeah.
I would probably do neat. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, it's fine. I'll have my say. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all day.
yeah. Sorry to hear about that.
That was really, and he was supposed to travel at the end of the week, and the crazy thing, well, there are a few things. One, because my brother-in-law had a motorcycle accident last year, and then or earlier in the year, I can't remember. Yeah, last year. And what's another crazy thing is that this week is like 22 years since I had my major accident. Like, and
Yeah.
which is really, yeah. Um, so basically there's nothing else, like if I'm bringing something to him, there's anything that's additional
Oh,
we
if you're
could use.
bringing something to him, let's see how he does over the next couple days.
Okay,
Like let's give him at least 48 hours and um he's not gonna feel good for a while. And so like the things that he has over there, like I mean those are pretty good. But I would say um probably more pain soothe.
mm-hmm.
And in the divine tuning into the divine calm 3 that we're about to do, um, I have it was going to come out with the class, but there's a vagal tone, like a pain vagal tone, like it helps relax the body's reaction to pain, and we could get that off too. you know
Okay.
I'll forget, so email Samantha to remind, because by the time I'm done and like I have a thing
Yeah.
that I do after this, like I
Mm-hmm. Okay, and is that like ointment or an oil or what?
well, in the class we were just going to inhale it, but
Okay.
for him I would say probably a body tonic or an ointment, since he's got also a lung injury.
Okay.
And so I'll evaluate and see if like neat will work better for him, or ointment, or body tonic. And
Mm-hmm.
so we'll go through and we'll figure that out for you.
Okay, then yeah, I'll
Yeah.
email you guys. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then also for the air that's stuck in the lungs, is that like there's nothing he can do?
What is the doctor having him do? Are they just waiting it
Nah,
out?
they basically want to keep him for like observation. I get like bits and pieces of information, which is not much. They want to keep him for observation just to make sure that they don't need to like, I don't know, take it out somehow or like, yeah.
So the thing that I would say about that is I would kind of leave that alone. And the reason being that when there's an injury or something going on like that, and the doctors are looking and evaluating, part of what they're evaluating for is the level or degree that that area is injured, and that there might be other injuries that they're not aware of yet. And so with something like that, um, it doesn't seem to be life-threatening. Like, it potentially could get crazy, but I would let the doctors evaluate that and treat that, and then, deal with the aftermath of his body being in whatever state it is. But because they're kind of watching that, I wouldn't play with that. I wouldn't
Okay.
throw off their perception of what's going on, because they're watching that for signs of something. And sometimes you treat it just good enough to where it throws off what they think is, like I knew this healer one time. She did a healing on somebody that had appendicitis, and, removed all the pain, and person still had appendicitis, she just didn't have pain. And so then when she went to the hospital to get checked, part of how they check for appendicitis is they push really hard on the appendix and then they let go. And it's called like the rebound test or reflex test or something. And, you know, if you have appendicitis, when they do that, you're like, ah, well, she didn't have pain. So they go, well, you don't have appendicitis. And her appendix almost burst and she almost, if it would have done, I
Yeah.
mean, good chance she could die. And so like there's areas where you just go, okay, time to step back and just let them do their magic, and then we'll do the next wave when we know they've been assessed and now
Mhm.
we're just dealing with aches and pains. I mean, if it was life threatening and like he might not make it through the night for whatever, I would say, let's be aggressive about something, but
Mhm.
they're still trying to assess him. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so, but he
And
didn't hit his head or anything like that.
no, so thank
Thank
God. And
God.
he called like he didn't even call my sister. He waited until it was like he took himself like to the ER and he got some x-rays and then he called my sister like
Yeah.
and thank God he's overall, I mean, he's a
Yeah.
strong, but we want to keep him,
Yeah,
we
sure,
need
of
to
course.
be strong
Yeah, yeah.
and then really also with fractured ribs, that's something that it just resolves over time.
That's going to be painful.
Yeah.
That's going to be very, very painful. So the issue with fractured ribs is that the muscles in between the ribs are strained, and every time he breathes, it's going to hurt. And there's
Yeah.
always a big potential of what you call intercostal neuralgia, which is the nerves in between the ribs and the soft tissue can get irritated. If you want to help the bones to heal faster, Solomon seal in the
So,
tincture, it
yeah.
will help accelerate healing to a much greater degree.
So
But they'll heal, as long as they haven't been shattered or whatever. But the thing with Solomon seal is even if they don't seed up very well and if they can just get close enough, Solomon seal will help the bones to bind.
So
And
he
so,
actually, so my brother, because I sent some things to my brother-in-law a while back, even left it for him. I doubt that he took it. So he has the pills. Does that work? Like,
yeah,
so either,
so I would say still wait for probably 72 hours, maybe,
okay,
because there's no reason to jump on it right now. So let the
okay,
doctors just evaluate him. But in maybe about 3 days or so, have him start taking the pills. Yeah.
okay.
Like three capsules, couple times a day.
Okay. Yeah, it's, they don't really use what I bring them. So now when they need it, it's there. Okay.
I think we might be related.
Yeah. And then just one last question about that with the Tarragon, like how many days would you do that? Like keep doing that for a few days, like a few drops, the Tarragon taking internally.
Oh, probably 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, and I'll add to
Because
my
again, it's antispasmodic, it's anti-inflammatory, it's going to help with the emotional component.
okay.
It's
Yeah,
going to
which is
balance out the
why
nervous system,
mm-hmm.
and it's one of those ones where it does a lot of different things, and for where he's at, that was a good choice, very good choice.
Okay. I'm glad she had that with her.
Mhm.
So okay, yeah, and I'll add that. I'll email Sam. Okay, thank you so much. Because I
You're
was
so
like,
welcome. So sorry that happened. Like
oh my
that's
God, thank you.
yeah. At least he's okay though.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that was a long thing about that. Then I have another question, if it's okay. That's not
Mhm.
really oil related. So I had a couple of like smaller things, but aches and pains, so I'm doing all the things we talked about. So what I'm wondering about is, when we talk about the mystical tools, we tend to talk a lot about the Dorje. But we
Mhm.
don't, the one that we don't talk, or I maybe I missed something, but the Kartika, which I started using recently.
Mhm.
When I use that, when we do, the practices, which again, I joined you guys just in the last few months, there's something really amazing about it. Like I feel
Mhm.
like it's working in ways that I don't even understand.
Mhm.
What I'm kind of wondering about is if you can just give a little bit more explanation of what it actually, like what it does, how it works, the
So
yeah.
this is why I do the mystical practices the way that I do, is that if I did that, you get in your head and you'd
And what
reduce
it,
yeah,
okay.
like so that's why I don't talk about it very much in the beginning. Like, after a while I start talking about a little bit more, but the thing that, that's why they hold back with inner teachings and they just don't give it to the public is the more intellectual you become, the more you diminish the divine spark. And so something that is supposed to help you like spiritually grow and evolve, you get in your head about it, you're actually de-evolving, you know. And so I would say have your experiences for a while and then eventually do, more explanation can happen, but there's not really a lot of benefit to having the explanation. And if like the thing that, is kind of the rule of thumb is that if the explanation holds you back from doing the practice, you're probably not ready to do the practice.
Yeah.
You're ready to do the practice. I'm not saying
Yeah.
you're not right, but I'm like, that's kind of a thing. Like we've had several people who have like, well, if I don't know what's happening, I'm not gonna do the practice. And I was like, yeah, good. Like
Oh, I don't,
you're
whatever.
probably not ready. And so, everybody like sends in the email and everything, but we turn people down sometimes because like I don't want them to like hurt themselves.
Yeah.
And so
I,
anybody that's getting an email to one of the mystical practices, it's because there's potential for growth there. But
mhm.
that's why I'm all like vague and like, well, we do
Yeah.
things, but we don't. And
And
like,
yeah, no, and
yeah.
for me, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. And
Mhm.
I'm still, I think, no, it's amazing. I think that's the thing. Like I had a certain idea of what it potentially can do, and when I was doing the practice, I'm like, oh wait, it works on these other levels that I didn't even realize. And I think the question just
Yeah. Oh yeah,
came.
I would agree.
So I
Yeah.
think that the question
Yeah.
was just in my mind, like, okay, what can I use it for? Like how I can utilize it in like different ways.
I
I
would
think it's
say
that.
like think of it more as a tool for exploration rather than like a tool that you would use it for things.
Okay.
Eventually you might use it for things, but for a while you're dating and you're trying to figure out if you
Which is
like it or not. You know
yeah,
what I
which
mean?
is
Like,
fine. Yeah,
do we speak the same
yeah.
language?
And it's totally fine. And I'm good with like experimenting
Yeah,
on myself and see what it does and then
yeah,
see what yeah,
right.
because again,
Yeah,
it's not and it even took me a while together. Like I've been working with the Dorje for quite a while and only then I added, okay, I kind of
yeah,
have a better, then I added the additional
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And I like it that we do the practice and I don't even know what I'm about to do, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, there's this magic that I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting.
I mean, you're tapping, I mean, with all the tools, you're tapping into the intuitive mind. And so that's the idea of not really saying a whole lot is your mind doesn't have something to grab onto and you are kind of going through the intuitive process, and part of the intuitive process is kind of learning by doing and adjusting and adapting and starting to develop an awareness because you have those questions, but instead of going to the indirect experience, you're like, oh, okay, what am I doing? What's going on here? Oh, just like what you're talking about. I feel like so much more is happening. Like keep paying attention to that. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the point. And so
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's
We're just
even I'd say, we use the sword and the Kartika,
mm-hmm.
even in tantric practices, aren't very commonly used.
Mm-hmm.
And the Purba, more than those other ones, but not like
Yeah.
the Dorje. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Dorje is, used quite a bit. But even my person that is my contact over in Nepal. he was a llama for a little bit and then stopped to have a family and everything. And so, but he was a llama for like 20 years. And when he talks about the Kartika, he's like, not a lot of people use the Kartika, and he's like always, bringing me like tonkas and things to show me. He's like, look, it has a Kartika in it, or this deity uses a Kartika here, and he's always showing me these things, and that's the thing that he says pretty consistently is that he goes, not a lot of practitioners use the Kartika. And it is tied to a much deeper practice, and even in the deeper practice with tantric things, it's not technique based, it's intuition based. And so you don't really have like these parameters or this is how somebody does it. Like you keep like exploring and developing it, and then like the ability comes. Like it's
Mhm.
it's a thing that kind of comes from the inside out. And so you know
Uh,
well
Yeah, yeah, no, I love it. Thank you.
well,
I think it's like, I think it's mainly probably coming from like my intellect thinking,
oh, it's
especially,
everybody has that issue.
yeah,
Like everybody has that issue. Like
and
it's
I
not
think,
just you. Yeah.
and it's probably because I wasn't with you guys since the beginning of this practice. A part of me was like, maybe I need to understand more, or I'm doing something incorrectly and I need to check. I
Mm.
think it comes from that.
No, I'd say that one that and the sort I probably have explained the least.
Yes. So, okay, good. It's fine. So as
Yeah.
long
And
as
even my explanations are less explanation and more exploration.
and it's fine. I think I need to quiet the mind that I didn't miss anything. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And if you have a question or share, you can raise your hand in the chat. You can type in. I do have some in the chat already, and there's a couple I actually missed, just nice ones from the art program earlier. Someone's shared. Let me see if I can find it now. We've had some different. Oh yeah, it said reminded me of chai. Yum.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, one of the reasons I like it. And then someone was asking, would this relax fascia?
To a certain extent. Somewhat. Like I wouldn't say like it would be my go-to thing. I mean, we have a section, don't we have a section on this with that it's fascia or the fascia and trigger point?
Yeah.
Like if you're working the fascia, I would do the fascia and trigger point one. I mean, this would have some impact, but um, you could always do them together. Yeah.
And now just regular Q&A. What do you recommend for frequent muscle cramps in the calf muscles for women in her late 60s? She also has osteopenia and chronic hip pain and sciatica pain.
And is it both legs or just one leg?
And you can type in or you can unmute yourself. It's both.
Both. And are we aware, is there any cardiovascular issue?
No.
Okay. Well, marjoram is always a good place to start if they haven't used marjoram. I mean, other things can be used there as well. I would say marjoram, then I would probably go to a blend of either the body tonic or the ointment of a thing called antisclerotic. Um, And antisclerotic just means that it like reduces like hardness in the tissue, but the blend also has an impact on like cramping and arthritis and has an anti-inflammatory effect. And The other one you could use is helichrysum. But I'd also say if they're not doing it, probably take like 400 or 500 milligrams of magnesium a day. You know, it could be in the evening, could be whatever, but I would say take some magnesium. You know, like with the marjoram body tonic, for example, you could put the marjoram on neat, but if you did the marjoram body tonic, um, it you know, there's a tincture of marjoram, then there's the essential oil of marjoram in it, and then I also add magnesium, you know, the liquid magnesium in that. It's not like massive amounts, but it's some. You know, because the thing with the magnesium, like it's like a kind of brine almost, that liquid magnesium that they rub on areas, is that when it's just like out of the bottle, like it works, but it's kind of a little bit irritating to the skin. Like it makes the skin kind of itch or whatever. And so I just put about maybe 10 or 15% of the body tonic has, you know, it's about 10% of the liquid magnesium. So you get the benefit of the magnesium without the itchiness and all that. And so all of that combined produces a good result for any sort of cramping or muscle tension and things like that. Helichrysum can be quite good too. Bit more expensive, but it can be good. Different types of petitgrain, especially mandarin petitgrain, can be good. But I'd say the go-to thing is usually marjoram to start. And then the second round, I would say the anti-sclerotic, either body tonic or ointment. And if that's not working, then maybe get back to us and see what else is going on. But that should be helpful. Yeah.
They said, I asked about magnesium, but she said her blood test for it was normal.
I would still take it. Yeah. You know, the serum level might be up, but still, if there's cramping, I mean, you've got potential to either have a blood flow issue or there's the tissues are cramping. Um, so I would still probably do the magnesium. Um, you know, with something like that, if she's already like her serum levels are okay, I mean, I'd try treating it like this, but it could be, you know, her body's in a little bit of fight flight, her muscular system's not relaxing. There could be agitation in the body. You know, I'd be curious if she's clenching her jaws, you know, like grinding her teeth and clenching her jaws. Sometimes when the calves are tight, it is a cause or a source of grinding on the teeth, but it's also because it's reflective of the body being in a like a tense or agitated state. And you know, it is also one of the things that you look at for um, cardiovascular issues, and it could be that she just maybe has low back and hip stuff. And again, going back to the magnesium and going back to the marjoram and the anti-sclerotic, all of that should help that as well. Like you don't really have to figure out what the cause is. You can just start treating it, and most likely they'll start getting better. But I'd be curious about the jaws, and I'd still ask like any pressure in the chest, any palpitations, you know, anything like that, where they might need to go see their doctor or something about something like that. You know, one of the things that you do, like if somebody's coming in and that's a little bit of a concern, is you would take your thumb and kind of, you know, push into the calves and see how tender that area is. And it doesn't mean that if they're tender there that it's automatically heart issue. But if the calves are tight over a period of time, it's reflective of something going on in the body that eventually can contribute to, you know, cardiovascular function. And so, you know, even even when the calves are feeling better and the cramps have gone away, I would say regular maintenance on the calves is a way to keep the body in a more relaxed state and, indirectly benefits cardiovascular function as well. And so, it helped the back, it helped it helps everything. So,
And they shared a few other things they did say. I also had her put magnesium lotion on the calves, but she didn't see any improvement. She used the lotion kind rather than liquid, which is irritating. And then they said, okay, cool on the magnesium supplement.
yeah,
And then they said, yes, a lot of dental issues.
a lot of dental issues. Okay.
I think they were saying that when you were talking.
Oh, the jaw. Yeah. Um,
They said jaw.
yeah. So, yeah, the muscle that causes that is not, the muscle that you see when you look at the calf is the gastrocnemius. Like when you go like, oh, that person has a big calf or they have a small calf or, whatever. Under that muscle is a muscle called soleus or soleus, or I don't know how you say it. Different people call it different things. And so a lot of times the way to check that, because that's the one that will contribute to the jaw issue, is you rub the sides of the calf. So like even if you're using ointment, you kind of like if this is the back of the calf, you'd rub over here and you'd rub over here. Like you kind of, like in uh like Japanese therapies where they work points and things. Like when they get to the calves, they'll work the points, but what they do is they grab each side and they kind of go like this up and down the calf for a while, and then they work the point. And the reason being is that kind of like grabbing it like that and going down the calf is you're working that deeper calf muscle that when you take tension out of that muscle, it will relax the body, relax the jaw, but what you're also relaxing is the nervous system. And I would take it all the way down into the Achilles tendon. And, you might even want to check to see if they have issues with like pain or discomfort in their heel. And if so, that could be treated. That will also help let some of the tension out of the calf. But the calf muscle, and especially the gastrocnemius, it crosses over the backside of the knee and it goes into the lower thigh. And so I would say not just the calf, but I'd also go, the fold of the knee and the backside. I'd still go about like that high up above the knee on the backside to take some of that tension off. If they're having like a back issue, like say thinning discs or um, a herniated disc or just a lot of tension in the back, that would also manifest eventually. Like it will kind of work its way down the leg, and that could be causing some of the calf issue. You might not feel it in the thigh. The thing that I would be curious about is, the tension in the hamstring, like if they bend over, how tight the hamstrings are, but also if there's numbness on the side of the thighs, because that could be an indicator of either something in the hip socket or something in the low back. Um, the thing with the hamstrings, if the calves are tight, there's a good chance that the hamstrings are tight. And so when they're really tight, how like when you're standing there, you're standing in the room or outside or whatever, and your legs are like, you're just standing there normal and your legs are straight and everything. People with really tight hamstrings, the knees will be slightly bent. Like they're not standing completely straight up. It's like they're in like a little bit of a partial squat. It's not massive, but hamstrings are so tight that the relaxed state is, instead of being like this, it's like that, the leg being straight. And so that's usually a significant hamstring issue, which also plays a role in the calves. And so I would say treating the whole backside of the leg would then be an issue. It's probably not something that's going to resolve like overnight, but if you treat it consistently, like things can get better over, a couple of weeks or a month or 2 months, and you know, things can get resolved. But I would say also, if she's getting them in the night, a little bottle of marjoram by the bed, on the nightstand, and even just the application of a few drops, like on the thigh, like if she's cramping up in the middle of the night, even a couple drops on the thigh usually will stop the cramps within 5 or 10 seconds. And so I would say that there was a period of my life where like that marjoram was always on the nightstand. And it can be quite the game changer, especially if she's not responding to magnesium as a treatment. Um, sometimes it can be a little bit of a potassium thing, sometimes it can be a little bit of a calcium thing, but that there's already a little bit of a bone issue that probably is more vitamin D or hormonal. I wouldn't play with the potassium just because the I want to know a lot more about cardiovascular function before you start playing with the potassium. And so I would say that, have me eat some bananas or something. But other than that, like starting to take supplements, I'd like hold off on that. And so magnesium is always a good, safe choice. But if she's using the lotion, or the liquid magnesium on the area doesn't really elevate the serum levels of the body, the magnesium serum levels, but it still gets magnesium into that area. But I would still try like maybe 400 or 500 milligrams of magnesium. I mean, it might not make it completely go away, but it will kind of take the edge off a little bit. And so there's probably not going to be a single thing that just wipes it out. But if you get a couple good things in there, it should get better.
Thank you so much. Very helpful info.
Yeah.
And then go ahead, Donita.
Hey.
Hi, Greg. Hi, everyone. You're talking about before I ask my question, but you're talking about magnesium. What kind of magnesium? Because there's so many. And do you have a source that is reliable?
There is a magnesium that I get that it's like a broad spectrum magnesium. It's like a bunch of the different types. I can try looking that up for you. And
Yes, please.
the only problem that I would say with it is that the capsules aren't a very big dosage, so you end up taking a bunch at a time.
That's okay.
Yeah, but um, and sometimes it could also be still kind of talking about that situation. It could also be an electrolyte issue. Like maybe the is there, like with a person who was talking about it, is there like any sort of frequency of urination or they're going in excessive amounts, or are they on a diuretic or anything like that? It could be electrolyte related. And so, if they get back to us, let us know. But
Said not really.
okay, then yeah, like stick with what we said, and yeah.
And
Mhm.
yeah, if you can, if you remember the source, I would love to know, because I've been looking and looking, and I was like, I don't know which
Yeah,
one.
send me a text because
I will.
I
I
won't
will.
remember.
I
Yeah,
will. I
won't
will.
remember. Yeah.
So if you have a few minutes, I would love for you to talk a bit more about this new one-day class, dream processing. Because my dreams have been off the charts.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, oh,
Well, what would you like to know about it? You just
will it help? Yeah, just a little bit. Like, is it, will it help me understand my dreams? Will it help? Like, just a little bit, kind of, it doesn't have to be intellectual, just a little bit, like some.
Yeah, so the thing that I would say about it is like dreams are a kind of realization, and you're getting a message through imagery, and that's why that whole thing, you were in the dream but you didn't look like you, it's just like kind of imagery and everything. And so for most people, it's kind of in I'm I'm not so much talking about the class right now. I'm just talking about dreaming, right? For most people, for them to kind of get the information or to have the realization, there has to be a kind of awareness first. It's like astrology is a good example. You're looking at the planets, you're looking at the influences of the planets, you're looking at all these aspects, and really, to a certain extent, what you're doing is you're becoming more conscious or aware of the influences, and you're becoming more conscious and aware of those aspects within you. But the deeper work or the deeper shift for those influences isn't necessarily just the planetary energy. Like there's like a stepping down of that energy that helps make the shift, if that makes sense. It's like the couple classes that we've done where we did the moon and Mercury, and we're about to do Jupiter. Those are shifting something, right? But the idea of working with the planets themselves is raising a kind of consciousness awareness. So if you think about it like this, like think about it like marketing. Like if somebody wants you to, I don't know, like buy a car, they keep saying the same thing over and over again, and they might not even give you details, but they're like, if you're driving this car, you're up in the mountains and it's amazing, and like all these things. It doesn't say anything about the engine, doesn't say anything about the cost, it doesn't say anything about anything. You're just being made aware of this car goes fast and makes you feel good and it's amazing. And then at some point you go, that thing about that car, I think I'm going to check it out. And then at some point you start looking and processing the details, right? And so, a lot of times with dreams, you're being exposed to something. It's not necessarily like you get the answer, but you're being exposed to it. Now, your ability to get the answer, now I'm talking about the class. Okay. So your ability to get the answer is really tied to your ability to process emotionally, which then turns into processing mentally. And that processing of emotions and the mental processes is the opposite of intellect. Like it is like this flow of like kind of movement. It's kind of that idea of intuition. And it's even like how I say, working with the idea of karma. It's not about what you think or what happened, it's about how you think about it. Like if you, as soon as you start thinking about it in an intellect way, you're harming yourself. Like it's bottom line, you are stepping away from the light within. You're going to a place that is literally kind of dark, not evil, it just lacks light. It's full of repetition, it's full of maintenance, and it's hard to break out. A lot of times people then start impersonating the thing that they think it should be, and they start pretending, and there's this whole set of mechanisms that falls into place. And so the idea of dreaming is breaking through that. And so what you're really doing is you're developing certain things in your energy body, and you're doing a deeper purification of like the negative tendencies of the ego. And in doing so, combined with maybe a little bit of physiology, your ability to process emotions and process thoughts also goes to processing like higher energies, but you're not just protecting the light within, you're you're increasing it. You're um, helping to stabilize the body, the emotions, and the mind is the best way to say it. And it is tied to how we learn, how we process, how we overcome obstacles. I've done little tiny bits and pieces at time, but the idea is that, if we get too intellectual about it, it's not even that you backtrack, you just it's almost like you turn away from yourself. You start turning away from the true aspect of yourself, and you kind of turn to this story or this tendency. You increase the level or degree that you carry burden, because you're turning away from the light. And so this idea of dream processing, it's about being able to not just protect the light, but like enhance it and like tap into it. And once you tap into it, it is a kind of overcoming obstacles, kind of processing that is more of who you truly are than who you think you are. And it doesn't mean that you become something else, you become more of who you are. And so, there is these practices that are about dream processing, and, it's not so much about trying to figure out like, what does that mean? What does this mean? It's about this flow. Like you're just always tapping into this flow, because the intellect is very limiting and what it allows intuition to do. And so it's like turning up the intuitive processing to a much higher degree. And instead of trying to figure out what it is, it's like you just direct your attention and the information just arises. Like it's mechanical. You can depend on it like the sun. You can depend on it like the moon. You know, you can depend on it like the weather. Like it is there. The issue is that we usually deny it a lot of times. And so it's a process that you're taking something deeper, and the more that you practice it, the more that you're diminishing the tendencies that cause you suffering. Because I'm just repeating something that somebody else said. Some great clairvoyance in the past, and what he said is what most people call karma is just things that you do to yourself. It's just not really karma. It's just things you keep doing to yourself over and over and over again. You kind of keep turning away from yourself. You keep choosing it. You keep almost running away from the part that is going to help you or save you or make you feel better. Because we're driven by the lower nature, we kind of turn away from it and we run away from it. And so, like this particular person, it was a long time ago, but they said about 90%, from what they could tell, about 90% of what people call karma is just self-inflicted wounds. Not karma. It's just in the moment. It's self-inflicted wounds. It's intellect. It's intellect without intuition.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Talking about the intellect and intuition, is there a way to actually catch it when you're starting to intellectualize the dream?
Usually in the dream, you're not intellectualizing it. It's usually when you're awake and
Yeah. When I'm
yeah,
awake,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I've been,
Yeah, we all do it. Like it's going to happen. I would say I don't know that it's so much about stopping it. It's just being able to let go of it when you catch yourself doing it. And the more you get used to like the flow, it becomes easier to recognize and easier to go, yeah, I just gotta let it go. Like how we do the practices where you go, okay, look at the situation and observe it, and then feel it in the body and observe it. Like even if you take like that approach to like a situation, just that shifts you out of intellect and has you go more into the intuitive mind. And if you practice that enough, you do it and you go, well, I didn't get any answer, but you'll notice like in a day or two, like you feel inspired and you're doing something that is about that situation, but it's your intellect didn't choose it. It's just all of a sudden it's like, I had this realization, I'm going to start doing this, or you start having a behavior that's driven that way. And I think that's the little bit of the thing with intellect is we always think that from the intellectual point of view that we have to stimulate or make something happen. And so when those things start happening, the intellect doesn't really like recognize it. And so these things will arise and start happening, and everybody has that potential, but either the intellect will ignore it, shut it down, not recognize it. And, there are two parts to your mind. There are the intellect and the intuition. And the more that you can kind of step in and out of intellect, because intellect is still good, like we still need it, but it just needs to not be the boss. Like that's the thing, is it thinks it is the sun and everything revolves around it, and it isn't. It's more of the moon. you know it's a reflection of something. you know and when it's bright, it's the reflection of intuition, and when it's dark, it's a reflection of the lower nature.
Oh dear. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
you're so welcome.
excited. I'm excited about
Yeah, it's gonna
Jupiter,
be
and I'm
fun.
excited about that, and I'm excited about all this series. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I wasn't going to do it until like, I don't know. I think I was saying like January, February. And then I was like, we're doing all this vagal tone work. We're doing all this angel work. Let's just throw it in the mix.
Do you know when I saw it yesterday? It was last night. I saw it.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, that's perfect timing. That was
Mhm.
just immediate because it's my
Mhm.
dreams are just going. They're just intense. There is a lot of messages. There is a lot going on,
Yeah.
but I don't hold. I'm just like, oh, whatever. The day I wake up and
So,
I just
so if you
then.
even think about what I just said, like I was like, yeah, I'll do it in January, February. That was a very intellectual statement. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
still happens. But then I caught myself and I went, no, let's do it now. Like, with everything going on, this is perfect timing. But intellectually, I was like, no, we'll do it in January, we'll do it in February, yada, 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 yada. And you know.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect
Yeah.
because I've never
But
had
that
this
just
like.
shows you like what intellect does. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
But you catch it and then you go, no, let's do it right now.
mm.
You know?
No, it's absolutely perfect because I've never had this like almost every night, like, and I can tell it's a story in
Mhm,
the other side, on the other side, that
mhm.
is happening. And yeah, it's just, that's perfect. It's just a thank you for listening to your
You're so
intuition,
welcome.
not your intellect.
You got it.
Okay, bye.
And go ahead, Rob.
Hey, hero.
Hey, Greg. I'm first off, I'm trying to put my finances together as far as what classes I can order coming up. And you've been doing the planetary series where you have the various phases of the moon and
Mhm,
Jupiter and all that.
mhm.
Are you other planets coming in that?
Yeah, it's the first weekend of September.
Okay.
It's that one's going to be the sun.
Okay.
I haven't named it yet, but it will probably be up on the website within about a week.
Okay.
But it's the weekend of
September 6th and
sixth and yeah, sixth and seventh.
And then the first weekend of October is gonna be Venus.
Yeah.
So that's going to be
Okay.
October 4th and 5th.
Okay. Thank you. I'm looking through my stash of oils here and I find out that I don't have any fur, though, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah,
So,
you don't have any fur of any sort?
no,
Huh.
bizarrely enough. So, what's a good general fur for me that would be useful?
Well, you might be asking the wrong person because I'm going to say Siberian fur premium because it's just like ugh. The regular Siberian fur
Yeah.
uh, smells different and is used more like in respiratory things and like even in inflammation and things like that.
Yeah.
And works really well for that. I'd say mystical applications, the premium, it's a different process, it's a CO2 extract rather than and it
Okay.
does have some more mystical properties to it.
Hmm.
Um, but also, if you're just looking like Douglas fir is nice, fir balsam is kind of, like a kind of a standard as far as furs are concerned. But also, you could do fir supreme, where you get a little bit
Okay.
of everything.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because like I like the Douglas fir, for example, I have like 3 or 4 different Douglas firs. Like they're from different regions and stuff. And so, it's the same plant. It's just like, well, sometimes I like the French one and sometimes I like the, the Russian one. And when I make the fir supreme, I put a little bit of all of them
Okay.
in. Yeah.
All righty. Um, Good. All right. Well, I think that pretty well takes care of tonight. I've been
Boy, but I'm
fought.
surprised that you don't have something in some class or something.
Well, I thought that was pretty bizarre too, but
Yeah.
I went looking for a
In the
fur and
plant
all.
teachers, we didn't put a fur in the plant teachers.
Oh, let me look.
Yeah. I mean, it might not have. Like yeah.
It's in the plant teachers room.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that one's probably Siberian fir,
Yeah.
premium. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I have to go through and re-examine that in detail.
Yeah.
Go see
Okay.
the
Yeah, I would think with the amount of classes and stuff you've done, yeah, I know you got a fur somewhere.
Hmm.
You know,
Okay.
you can look it up on the site, like maybe you can run him through how to look it up. And
That part's, I mean, I can show general, it's not just class up, kit lookup yet.
oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah,
Robert and I talk Friday, so by next
Right.
week it'll be.
so by next week you'll be able to look up all the kits and like what's in what and where, and so you should be able to like track that down without having to go through every box you own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Good.
Like it should be up probably Monday, Tuesday, somewhere like that next week.
Alrighty. Good. I think that pretty well answers it for tonight then. Thanks.
Good, good.
And go ahead, Channing.
Hey.
Did I hear Venus? Did someone say Venus in October?
Yeah, in October.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Greg, I had to
For
go
all
lay
the
down.
Libras out there.
That's right. What weekend is it?
The first weekend of October.
I love it.
Yeah.
I had to go lay down after the practice earlier because the warming muscle tone or blend just
Mhm.
really just like ironed out all of my knots and tangles.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
No, I had to literally go lay down.
Yeah,
I couldn't sit still.
it's amazing. Like, that's the thing, even for me, like I'll forget about it and then I'll use something and I'm like, God, this is amazing. How am I not using this all the time? Like I was looking through for an oil and I was going through like, my loose and my kits and everything. And I walked away with like this big bowl of oils and I was like, how am I not using this oil all the time? And I was like, ugh, and that's one of them.
It really is. I forgot
Mhm.
all about it. And it's so how would this be okay to be in a salt scrum? Or is it just
Yeah,
too
you'd probably get more out of it as like a body tonic or ointment or a massage oil or lotion or something. I mean, you could do it as a salt scrub, but you'd probably get more
much?
benefit out of it the other way.
So can I use this as like I'm a little scared I won't be able to drive if I use this after or during a massage.
Um,
I'm asking because I'm gonna go see Michael after this.
yeah, I would probably still do it. I mean, one of the things that I used to do in the early days with the same blend is I
Uh-huh.
would sell it to massage therapists. Like I'd make them a big like gallon thing, and that was their massage oil. But I
Mhm.
used to also put it in alcohol, like in a spray, and like cyclists and runners would spray it on their legs to warm up before events, and it would kind of calm down their nerves.
Yeah. I know next week we're working on the nervous system, but this just completely just calmed me.
Yeah, it's super, super.
I have the warming muscle tonic though in the blend.
Yeah, we changed just for the warming muscle support is formerly known as warming muscle tonic.
Okay, so just again, I heard you, but just double checking this is
Yeah,
okay to
yeah,
put in
yeah.
an oil, massage oil. Okay,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a treat, and I'm gonna be able to drive afterwards, right?
Probably.
I hope so.
Okay, so we're gonna jump over to the Astara prayer petition blessing. If you want to spend 15 minutes just as a little quick meditation and way to bless and generate some good karma, follow us over. We're posting the link and um it's what's the study group tomorrow? I forget.
Yeah, what was it last weekend? Oh my gosh, my
Yeah,
brain.
It was the respiratory system, right? Healing the respiratory system. Yeah. So even if you didn't do the class, go ahead and join us for the study group if you can. We did more than just work on the respiratory system, so it might be worth you jumping in.